Hey there, how's it going, lads and lasses? We got a brand new figure review today. We have the Hasbro PulseCon exclusive Venom from the awesome 90s cartoon, the Spider-Man 90s cartoon. And it's kind of a weird character to make an exclusive. Hopefully they'll do just a standard release of this figure. Maybe they'll do one where it doesn't have the blue and red outlines. I know some people were kind of split on that. I think it actually adds to the figure, honestly. But I figured this figure warranted a review because, unlike past iterations of Venom, this is all new tooling, all new articulation, all new parts, everything. It's just a totally new mold that they're using here. So let's get a closer look at that mold here. I'll go ahead and so we have these kind of new butterfly shoulder joints that they've started incorporating on quite a few of their figures. It's got pretty standard Hasbro articulation. I can actually pop the head off here to show you the ball joint on the neck that swivels forward and back. The one issue I have with this figure is with that joint, because when you're moving the head you kind of have to push down on it, otherwise it'll pop off pretty easily. But it pops off easily because it's got an alternate head with the tongue tucked into his mouth, but nobody's going to use that head. So yeah, we got those butterfly joints, and we have your standard, if it'll focus, double jointed elbows with a swivel at the shoulder there, where the shoulder meets the bicep. Pretty standard hand articulation there. It's got a swivel in it and a tab. And these, of course, pop out, so you can put in a fist. And it's pretty smooth transitioning there. It'll focus. Okay. Yeah, and you know, same articulation on the fist. You've got an ab crunch and a waist swivel. There's a little bit of a wonkiness to it, like it won't, at least for mine, it has a little bit of trouble staying perfectly aligned center there. Like after a while it just kind of moves out of alignment on its own, but it's not a huge issue. And what I like here is that we don't have those weird angled joints that Hasbro started using again. I was so happy when they stopped using those and then they started back again, mostly with Black Series, with Star Wars. But this does actually just swivel forward and swivel out. I just think those, they're just so weird to pose, so I don't really care for them. We got double jointed knee and standard swivel on the foot there that pivots side to side. Let's take a look at some of the detailing here, because this has quite a bit of detail compared to past Venom figures. You can see it actually has some veins here and a little bit of I don't know that that's necessarily veins. That looks more like the symbiote, the Venom symbiote kind of, having some swirly details there, and you got that on both arms. Don't really have anything like that elsewhere, but there's a little bit more just surface detail in the sculpt of it. And of course we have the paint job, which, like I said, I'm pretty happy with. I think that ended up looking pretty cool. So I have right here the standard Marvel Legends Venom. They've released this one twice, and this is actually a combination of both of those releases that I customized. The first one was really just boring. Like, how the hell are you going to make a Venom figure and make it boring? You know, he's arguably one of the most popular Marvel characters of all time. And it was just super, super boring, no detail, flat paint apps. The only thing that was even remotely interesting was well, this head with the tongue sticking out, and it's got a little bit of the green saliva there. So I got both of the releases when the second release came out because I didn't want the closed fist hands. I wanted these open ones, and I wanted this head, and the second release didn't come with this head. But it did have this weird thing that it was like their attempt to make it a more interesting figure, this weird thing that pegs into the back there. What I ended up doing was splitting it up, leaving one part there on the back and then gluing some parts to the shoulder. And then I added some veins of my own on this one. You know, I didn't do much. I'm not an expert customizer, but it doesn't take much to make a good Venom figure, Hasbro. You just did the bare minimum. But this new sculpt is awesome. It's a little bit taller. I'd say it's about maybe like a quarter. No, I'd say about half an inch taller than the original. It's bulkier, especially in the legs. You can see here the legs are quite a bit bulkier. And the upper torso is really... The whole figure is just bulkier. I think it's the most apparent in the legs. I gotta give them props. They did a good job. They went above and beyond, especially for a con exclusive figure, which, like I said, I really don't think Venom of all characters should be con exclusive. So hopefully they'll do a re-release. My intuition is that they'll do a re-release that doesn't have the blue and red trim to it. But we'll see. I don't know. Hasbro's just they're weird. They make the weirdest decisions, and it's, you know, for budget reasons, but it's still weird. But I'm just glad it's not just a repaint of this figure with maybe a different head. They did a good job, and I'm happy with it, especially because for a lot of people, you know, like me, I didn't have a good comic shop growing up. My introduction to the character was through the 90s cartoon and the PlayStation 1 video game. And this Venom would be a lot of people's introduction to the character. And it's a great introduction to the character. They did a great job. So I'm glad that they went all out with this figure and gave it the treatment that it deserves. Keep an eye out for it. Keep watching Hasbro. I don't know. I doubt they still have stock on Hasbro Pulse, but I have a feeling that, like I said, they'll do a reissue at some point, probably that doesn't have the blue and red trim there. So just keep an eye out. If you can get this figure, this cost me about $35. If you can get this figure between $35 and $40, I think it'd be worth it. But anything above $40, just wait. But that's going to do it for this video. There's a couple other figures coming up that I plan to do some videos for. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys next time.